The final issue opens, where we see the mutated Jasper look on in horror at the wounded body of his own sister that he mistakenly attacked in the last episode. Not in complete control of his actions, the man, still in shock, wondered just what happened to his sibling, where instantly Iron Man rightfully slammed the dude into the ground and began to throw hands with the beast for harming the innocent woman. As Tony fended the monster off, Bruce Banner knelt down to tend to Toshiko's wounds, where she grabbed the man's hand, pleading with him to stop her brother, saying that the Hulk is a hero and would do what was right. We then cut to Iron Man as he pinned Jasper to the ground, where the madman caught his breath and pleaded to be killed. Stark admitted that he felt like going to the dark side and giving in to this request, where he was then interrupted by Scott, who then told him that this request was not by the hands of Iron Man or any Avenger. In a loud, distorted, and disturbing voice, Jasper then demanded that it be his sister Toshiko to be the one to finally put him out of his misery. With Iron Man asking just what the heck this guy was talking about, we then see Dr. Scott's stomach burst open and mutate in a massive explosion, sending Stark flying to the ground. With the team asking if Tony was alright, we then see the heroes, and a freshly transformed Hulk, ready their arms to put an end to things. Stepping towards the Avengers, we then see the fully turned Jasper, who now took on even more of a Resident Evil final boss appearance, having mutated to be bigger than even the Hulk. Being no stranger to fighting giant muscle monsters, our green boy engaged the creature, who soon overpowered and tossed him into a nearby building. With Black Widow using this opening to momentarily stun the creature with her electric gauntlets, Jasper soon grabbed the woman and went to finish her, only to be saved by a quick-thinking Hawkeye. Nice work, Clint. That's like the second useful thing you've done in this whole series. I legit forgot that you were even in this. Having more than enough of this nonsense, Jasper summoned yet another wave of the zombie hordes, which he sent after our heroes. Admitting that this was about to get ugly, the Avengers then heard a noise in the skies above, where a series of strange metal objects began to fall all around the alien army. In possibly the second coolest superhero landing ever, we see War Machine make his triumphant return as he summoned a series of Stark tech cages around the zombies, keeping them safe from harming anyone else. With Tony shocked and delighted that his friend was still alive, Rhodey told him that he was not that easy to kill and went to transport the infected to safety so they could finally stop Jasper. In a truly splendid set of panels, we see the madman finally get what was coming to him, as Hulk straight up punched him in the face, Captain America slammed into his chest with a shield, Thor whacked him into the sky, where Iron Man delivered the piece de resistance by choke slamming him into the earth. Man, this is awesome. You just don't see good superhero ghetto stomping like this anymore. With Jasper straight up Yamcha posed on the pavement, the exhausted heroes breathed easy that the nightmare was finally over. Making their way to the bloody Dr. Amano just barely clinging to life, the woman thanked them and apologized for Jasper's actions, saying that this was all her fault. Despite being on death's door, Toshiko, still being Captain America's biggest fan, smiled and calmly asked the Star-Spangled Man if she could get his autograph one last time, as it was ruined during the battle. Being the kind-hearted man he was, Steve said he would give her as many as she wanted, where he then reached out his hand to her, only for the woman to finally give in to her injuries and die before his very eyes. As the team mourned the loss of this great woman, we then cut to a determined Bruce Banner, who refused to let things end this way. Taking out a vial of a mysterious liquid, Cap asked just what he was doing, where the scientist then said that some things are just worth the risk. We then discover that this substance was another strain of the virus, which he planned to use on Toshiko due to its cellular regenerative properties, much to the horror of Tony and the others, who warned against this. Banner then said that they still have to try, as Amano did have the initial cure in her system, and they had to hold on to any glimmer of hope they had, no matter how small. We then see Bruce administer the virus, where suddenly Amano's eyes would open wide, revealing reptilian-like pupils, just like we saw with Jasper earlier that night. Things then fast forward to a week later, where we see news crews reporting that the madness had finally come to a close, as Stark Industries was mass-producing the antivirus for all of New York. As Rhodey dealt with the press, we are then taken to a fully cured Dr. Amano, where we see that Bruce's idea worked and that the virus brought her back to life and was now fully purged from her system. Steve then approached the woman, overjoyed that she was alright, only to come across a rather smitten young man who seemed dumbfounded at the mere sight of the superhero. This guy, of course, ended up being Dr. Amano's husband, who too, like her, was a huge Captain America fan. You know what? Amano went from being kind of annoying to overwhelmingly wholesome. This is absolutely adorable. Later on, we see Bruce and Tony wishing a farewell to Thor, who had packaged up all of Jasper's research and planned to take it to the Asgardian vaults so it would never fall into the hands of mankind ever again. As the Thunder God teleported away, we see Tony ask Bruce just how he was able to steal the second wave of the virus from Jasper that allowed him to save Toshiko's life, where Banner told him that he managed to steal it during his captivity. A rather impressed Stark then remarked that he didn't know Banner had it in him to be such a skilled thief. In the very next panel though, we see that Bruce was not being entirely truthful in this response. Things then flash back to when Jasper is holding him prisoner, where we see just what he whispered to him in the previous issue. Knowing he was going to die, Jasper had personally given Banner samples and data for this new strain of virus and told him to settle things once he was gone. However, he had one condition, and that would be to never share this information with Tony Stark. With Banner asking why to hide such a thing from Tony, Jasper responded by saying that while Stark was a hero, he knew that old habits died hard and did not want the man tinkering with such a virus that could end the world. Things then flash forward to present day, where Banner got a text from Natasha saying that she wanted to go out on a date now that things were over, where Tony too was met by Pepper, who was quite happy to see her man in a much less zombified state. With things back to normal, Tony had one request, and that would be to see if they could possibly redo his birthday now that the zombies were gone. Hey, I'm game for this, only if he DJs and blasts watermelons again.